Will by Samael
Aun Weor.
Introduction. And I saw in the right hand of him who was seated on the throne a scroll written within and on the back, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals?" This divine scroll is man, and the 7 seals are the sacred serpents that we have to lift over the rod as Moses did in the desert. This is the great arcane. In this book, we study the mysteries of the 5th seal. In this book, we study in detail the great mysteries of the human will. Much has been written about the will, but nobody has ever studied the great mysteries of the universal will. Then I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven, wrapped in a cloud, with a rainbow over his head, and his face was like the sun, and his legs like pillars of fire. And called out with a loud voice like a lion roaring. When he called out, the 7 thunders sounded. When man has raised his 7 serpents, he is converted into a majestic angel, crowned by the rainbow above his head. This rainbow is the 7 tongues of ardent fire that convert us into kings and priests of the universe. The 7 thunders are the 7 voices, the 7 vowels, the 7 serpents that convert us into omnipotent gods of the universe. In this book, we study the magnificent mysteries of the will. It is necessary to Christify the will. It is necessary to become all-powerful. We want the will to become fire. All the greatest powers of the universe are contained in the sex. All the terrifying powers of the creation slumber in our creative organs. Love is the foundation of the great work. Man and woman united sexually can become terrifying monarchs of nature. When a man and woman are sexually united, something is created. Those who want to Christify their will must intensely practice sexual magic with the woman. Those who want to become gods must practice their cult of sexual magic with the woman. Whatever is not done in this manner is regrettably a waste of time.
Chapter 1. Thy will be done. 1. Have you seen, O Buddha, those ineffable beings that in the world of the will reverently bowed before the majesty of the Father too? Thy will be done, O my God, on earth as it is in heaven. 3. Father, if thou art willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. Luke 22:42-45. 4. The will must kneel before the intimate. 5. The will must humiliate itself before the majesty of the Father. 6. If we wish to Christify the body of will, we must do the will of the Father, on earth as in heaven. 7. The Father and the Son are one, but the rebel Son is weak before the majesty of the Father. 8. The Christic will is powerful because it only does the will of the intimate, on earth as in heaven. 9. When the will wishes to act independently without doing the will of the Father, it is a weak will. 10. We must put on our temples the crown of thorns of the Master 11. The crown of thorns symbolizes the Christic will. 12. The Christic will is omnipotent because it only does the will of the intimate, on earth as in heaven. 13. When the human will opposes the will of the Father, is guilty of lèse majesté.
Chapter 10. Aspects of the will. The human will takes on the most varied aspects. Now you must understand, O Buddha, the varied aspect of the will. The highest spheres of the social world are full of fornication and filth. Have you seen, O Buddha, this game of checkers in the world of the aristocracy? Inside each room there is a pair of fornicators, and at the door a playful lady stops the couple from getting out. You will understand now, my brother, that when playing with the will, we become the jailers of the other people's wills.
You will understand now, my brother, that the society games of the aristocracy serve to enslave the souls inside the filthy jails of fornication and adultery. You can see now, my brother, how the playing of society games can enslave the souls. Now you can understand, O Buddha, the terrifying strength of the will. The will is an explosive power with which we cannot play games. Playing, a lady makes another lady to fall and then becomes her jailer. Ladies commit adultery playing society parlor games. The society games of the high social spheres are pure and true black magic. By means of the society games, the souls seduce the souls, taking away their freedom. The will is a very dangerous power with which one cannot play games. You have already seen, O Buddha, what is provocation. You have defeated subtle temptations. You have understood, my brother, what is the good use of the will. You have already understood that you must respect other people's wills and the free will of the rest. You have already learned not to force other people's wills. Enormous crowds follow you, O Buddha, but you must respect the human wills. You must be the servant of the suffering humanity, but not the enslaver of other people's wills. You must respect the free will of the rest to convert the human will into Christic will.
Chapter 11. The Fifth Chamber. 1. Enter the temple of music, O Buddha, to receive your lessons. 2. The sun of the Father shines in all its splendor. 3. A bird gently flies, singing in the forest. 4. The fifth serpent ascends to the fifth spinal vertebrae of the body of will. 5. Enter your fifth chamber to celebrate the occasion. 6. You have already learned how to respect other people's wills. This is the fifth card of the tarot, the High Priest. 7. You have already dominated the effect of jealousy, because you have learned, O Buddha, to respect other people's wills. 8. You have already learned to respect the will of your family members and the will of every living being. 9. You understand now, my brother, what it is to respect the free will of other people. 10. The fire is purifying bit by bit the causal body or body of will. 11. It is impossible to purify the physical body or the vital, astral, mental, causal bodies, or our Buddhic and Atmic vehicles without the marvelous power of fire. 12. Those that wait to purify the mind first and then begin to practice sexual magic resemble the garbage man that wants to purify the dung heap without lighting up the fire. With the fire, we burn the slag and purify our internal vehicles. However, the fire can only be lit by practicing sexual magic. INRI, I-N-R-I, Ignea Natura Renovatur Integram. Fire unceasingly renews nature. Chapter 12. The Sixth Chamber. 1. Your sacred fire has reached the sixth chamber of the spinal column of the body of will. 2. Terrifying cosmic powers inundate your being. 3. Observe, O Buddha, that ineffable lady that looks at you behind the grill. That is the beautiful Helen, for who fought the heroes of ancient Troy. For her fought the most illustrious warriors of ancient Helade. Beautiful Helen is the one for whom Achilles, the illustrious warrior, fought before the walls of Troy. It is your Buddhi, the soul of diamond, entered into the Christ mind. Enter the temple, my brother, to celebrate the nuptial marriage with the beautiful Helen. A nuptial march resounds in the ambits of time. This is the sixth card of the tarot, the lovers. Now you betroth, O Buddha, the beautiful Helen. The beautiful Helen is your superlative consciousness, generated by your divine God in the dark waters of space. Atman Buddhi is the internal master. Now, O Buddha, you have raised in spirit and in truth up to the beautiful Helen. I tell my Arhat that the ego manas must ascend up to the Atman Buddhi to fuse with him. I tell my Arhat that the fifth initiation of major mysteries is the first initiation to the nirvana. I tell my Arhat that the fifth serpent is the third serpent when we count starting at the Atman and finishing at Stula Sarira, the physical body. I tell my Arhat that each Buddha has 7 Buddhas. I tell my Arhat that our divine eternal triad is father, mother, sons, wife, brothers, self-searching and self-realizing. I tell my Arhat that each Buddhi has his Bodhisattva. I tell my Arhat that the Bodhisattva is the human soul with the extracts of the mind of the 4 bodies of sin. I tell my Arhat that from the physical body we extract the body of liberation. I tell my Arhat that from the etheric body we extract the golden body. I tell my Arhat that from the astral body we extract the Christ soul. The internal Christ is the Glorion, the shining dragon of wisdom. I tell my Arhat that from the mental body we extract the Christ mind. In this way, then, the inferior quaternary reinforces the divine eternal triad. By means of sexual relation, we betroth the beautiful Helen. This labor is an endeavor of sexual alchemy. The sexual magic transforms us into gods. The intimate is the son of the I Christ. The I Christ is the glorion of each man. The glorion is a spark emitted from the central sun. The central sun is the great breath. The great breath is the army of the voice. The army of the voice is the divine beings. The divine beings are the cosmic Christ, the solar logos, the Word.
Chapter 12. The Sixth Chamber. Your sacred fire has reached the 6th chamber of the spinal column of the body of will. Terrifying cosmic powers inundate your being. Observe, O Buddha, that ineffable lady that looks at you behind the grill. That is the beautiful Helen, for who fought the heroes of ancient Troy. For her fought the most illustrious warriors of ancient Helad. Beautiful Helen is the one for whom Achilles, the illustrious warrior, fought before the walls of Troy. It is your Buddhi, the soul of diamond, entered into the Christ mind. Enter the temple, my brother, to celebrate the nuptial wedding with the beautiful Helen. A nuptial march resounds in the ambits of time. This is the 6th card of the tarot, the lovers. Now you betroth, O Buddha, the beautiful Helen. The beautiful Helen is your superlative consciousness generated by your divine God in the dark waters of space. Atman Buddhi is the internal master. Now, O Buddha, you have raised in spirit and in truth up to the beautiful Helen. I tell my Arhat that the ego manas must ascend up to the Atman Buddhi to fuse with him. I tell my Arhat that when the human will fuses with the inner master, it becomes omnipotent. I tell my Arhat that when the ego manas fuses with the Atman Buddhi, it becomes charged with all the ineffable powers of the intimate and becomes omnipotent. I tell my Arhat that the 5th initiation of major mysteries is the first initiation to the nirvana. I tell my Arhat that the 6th serpent is the 3rd serpent when we count starting at the Atman and finishing at Stula Sarira, the physical body. I tell my Arhat that each Buddha has 7 Buddhas.
I tell my Arhat that our divine eternal triad is Father, Mother, Sons, Wife, Brothers, self-searching and self-realizing. I tell my Arhat that each Buddhi has his Bodhisattva. I tell my Arhat that the Bodhisattva is the human soul with the extracts of the mind of the four bodies of sin. I tell my Arhat that from the physical body we extract the liberation body. I tell my Arhat that from the etheric body we extract the golden body. I tell my Arhat that from the astral body we extract the Christ soul. The internal Christ is the Glorion, the shining dragon of wisdom. I tell my Arhat that from the mental body we extract the Christ mind. In this way, then, the inferior quaternary reinforces the divine eternal triad. By means of the sexual relation, we betroth the beautiful Helen. This labor is an endeavor of sexual alchemy. The sexual magic transforms us into gods. The intimate is the son of the I Christ. The I Christ is the glorion of each man. The glorion is a spark emitted from the central sun. The central sun is the great breath. The great breath is the army of the voice. The army of the voice is the divine beings. The divine beings are the cosmic Christ, the solar Logos, the Word.
Chapter 13, Chamber 7. Remember, O Buddha, those violent acts of your past. You have now seen what is the negative use of the will. The violence is the negative use of the will. Jealousy comes from the lower worlds of reason and desire. The jealous man enslaves his wife and makes bad use of the will. Nobody should enslave anybody. Nobody should exert coercion on the will of anybody. One must respect the free will of other people. However, the wife must carry out faithfully her duties of the home, not by coercion of the will by her husband, but because of her faith in the Lord. The wife who abuses her freedom and who attends drunken orgies, social clubs, etc., falls into black magic. The husband must take care of his wife as a fragile vase, but respecting her free will so as not to exert coercion over her will. Wives, be subject to your husbands as it is fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. Colossians 3:18-19. The fire has entered the chamber 7 of the body of will. This chamber is symbolized by the 7th card of the tarot, the Chariot. Enter your chamber to celebrate the occasion, O Buddha.
Chapter 14, Chamber 8. You have entered, O Buddha, the chamber 8 of the spinal column of the body of will. This is the arcane 8 of the tarot, justice. We must know how to forgive our accusers. We must know how to forgive those that betray us. One must patiently submit to the law and the justice. The test of justice is terrible, and few succeed. That one who protests before his judges and accusers fails the test of justice. Those that despair before their judges and accusers fail the test of justice. We must remain indifferent before praise and condemnation, before triumph and defeat. I am not more because I am praised, or less because I am condemned, because I am always what I am. Kempis. The fire has entered your chamber 8. Enter, O Buddha, into this chamber to celebrate the occasion. The fire is completely Christifying your will. The human will is becoming converted into Christic will. Chapter 15, Chamber 9. 1. Now you are going through, O Buddha, a period of solitude. 2. The Chamber 9 is the 9th card of the tarot, the Hermit. 3. I am alone, I am God, and where I am, there are gods. 4. The admission to this chamber is difficult, but you must have tenaciousness and decisiveness, O Buddha, because you will open this chamber with patience. 6. The number 9 is the number of the initiation. 7. The number 9 is measure of man. 8. Really, we are one and we are nothing. 9. Really, there is only one being that expresses itself as many. 10. We are inside everybody, and we are one only in eternity. 11. The sparks fly off the flames to fulfill themselves as masters, and will return to the flames, and the flames are inside the flames, in the depth of Atman, the nameless, the universal spirit of life that expresses itself as many, the verb. 12. I am alone, I am God, and where I am, there are gods. 13. Each human being is at heart a star. Inside each human being there is a divine spark flown off from an ineffable flame. This flame is the Christ I. 14. Before the spark flew off the flame, it was the same flame itself.
Chapter 16. Chamber 10. 1. Do you know, O Buddha, the pain of losing the most loved? 2. Do you know, O Buddha, what it is to lose that which we love most? 3. The wheel of fortune turns unceasingly, and we, stuck to the wheel, take many turns. 4. This is the 10th card of the tarot, the Wheel of Fortune. 5. Can you see, O Buddha, that gigantic precipice? 6. Can you see those impregnable rocks and that terrifying abyss? 7. The master supports himself at the edge of an abyss, and the wheel of fortune turns many times. The humble will be praised, and the praised will be humiliated. 8. My Father, do not let me fall in the abyss. Do not let me get out of the light. 9. A chamber opens. Enter, my brother, to the temple in the living rocks of this horrible precipice. 10. The door of the temple opens slowly, giving rise to a profound and mysterious sound. Enter, O Buddha. Enter in your chamber to celebrate that wonderful occasion. You can see, O Buddha, the terrible precipice. The master supports himself at the edge of an abyss, and even the angels can fall in. 13. You can see, O Buddha, what sexual alchemy is. Your fifth serpent is ascending by the fine medulla of your causal body, provided that you intensely practice sexual magic with the woman. 14. Forward, O Buddha, forwards without faltering.
Chapter 17. Chamber 11. 1. The sacred fire has entered chamber 11 of the spinal column of your body of will. 2. 3 white round counters drop to the floor. 3. 3 is the number of the Celestial Mother. 11 is also the number of the Celestial Mother. 4. The arcane 11 of the tarot symbolizes persuasion. 5. This card is represented by a feminine hieratic figure, opening with her delicate hands the terrible jaws of a lion. 6. You will now understand, O Buddha, what is the force of persuasion. 7. Enter the temple, my brother, to celebrate the occasion. 8. Delectable music resounds with its sweet melodies in the eternal chorale of the infinite. 9. Don't be a tyrant, a great hierophant warns you. 10. You will now understand that the Christic will does not tyrannize anybody. 11. The Christic will is delectable music that imposes itself with the ineffable strength of persuasion. 12. The Christic will is not tyranny. 13. The Christic will is the strength of conscious persuasion amongst the delectable symphonies of the universal fire. 14. Receive your jewel in the finger of Mercury, and remember, O brother, the terrifying force of persuasion. Chapter 18. Chamber 12. 1. The fire has entered chamber 12 of the spinal column. 2. This chamber represents the apostolate of the tarot, the hanged man. 3. The apostle hangs from a rope over the depth of the abyss. 4. The master hangs from his feet, sacrificed for humanity. 5. The Christic will is sacrifice. The Christic will is apostolate. 6. The arcane 12 is sacrifice. 7. The initiations are payments made to man when something is due to him. 8. Nothing is paid to whom nothing is owed. 9. The internal powers are given to man to pay what is due to him. 10. It is paid what is due to whom is working in the great works of the Father. 11. Every sacrifice in the great work represents a debt which the hierarchies must pay to the apostle. 12. The Father always pays his sons. 13. The Buddhas are paid for their work. 14. Every initiation in the nirvana is payments that are made to the Buddhas. 15. A delectable garden shines in the worlds of the light. Enter the temple, O Buddha, to celebrate the occasion in the chamber 12 of the spinal column of the body of will. Chapter 19. Chamber 13. 1. The sacred fire has entered the chamber 13 of the spinal column of the body of will. 2. The arcane 13 of the tarot is death and is eternity. 3. One must die to live. One must lose everything to win everything. One must die in the world to live for the Father. A golden bird flies in the infinite spaces. There is lightning and terrifying powers. To you are given, O Buddha, terrifying divine powers. Now you are powerful. The empire of power, the omnipotence of the divinity, shine terrifyingly amongst the lightning. Enter the temple, O Buddha, to celebrate the occasion.
Chapter 2. The awakening of the fire. 1. You have awakened your fifth serpent to Christify the body of will. 2. Rejoice, O illuminated Buddha, because your human will become the Christic will. 3. A beautiful child appears in the causal world. He is the body of your will. 4. A steel door opens, resembling the door of a garden. Enter, my son. Enter. 5. My brother, take with you the body of will, your beautiful child. Take him to the temple to celebrate the occasion. Observe him well, brother of my soul, in the coccygeal bone of the causal body. You will see the fifth serpent awakened. 7. The glorious march has started, which will culminate in the total Christification of the will 8. The Christic will shine now. 9. The human soul will now bow before the will of the Father. 10. Receive, brother of my soul, the sacred ring and your holy cloth. 11. A decrepit old man appears in your path. 12. The old man has spoken and says, abandon the earthly things. 13. Listen to it, my brother. Listen to it, oh Buddha. 14. I tell my arhat that it is necessary to liberate the will from the earthly things. 15. I tell my arhat that the ego, Manas, hides in his breast the unbearable burden of the centuries. 16. I tell my arhat that time is only a withered and decrepit old man from which we must liberate ourselves. 17. I tell my arhat that the ego, Manas, must liberate itself of the burden of the centuries. 18. The memory of nature is contained in the causal plane, the unbearable burden of the years. 19. Through time, the human will got used to reacting unceasingly towards the earthly things, seduced by the human mind. 20. Through the epochs, the human will has let itself be influenced by the earthly things. 21. The memory of the past and the preconceptions converted the human will into a defensive self-barrier inside which the human soul remained prisoner. 22. All of these prejudices made the human will a slave to earthly things. 23. The burden of the centuries, ancient, withered, and degenerate, enslaved the souls. 24. The prejudices, the preconceptions, and the dust of the years disfigured the human will, converting it into a horrible monster in the service of the mind and the desire. 25. Now the fifth serpent liberates the human will of the earthly things. 26. Now the human will beat the dust from its white hair and will become the Christic will. 27. Now the human will only obey the orders of the intimate, because already the divine triad has liberated itself from the four bodies of sin. 28. Through the aeons, the fear and the search for security have enslaved the body of will, making it into a barrier of personal self-defense. 29. It is the fear and the yearning for security that has transformed the human will into a poor victim of the four bodies of sin. 30. It is the burden of the past. It is the dust of the years, with all of their ancestral prejudices, which have converted the human will into a miserable slave of the earthly things. 31. The moment has come to liberate the human will of the horrible prejudices and of the sinister inheritance of fear and cravings. 32. Rejoice, O Buddha, that now your human will become the Christic will. 33. The moment has come to liberate the human will of the ancient fears of the past. 34. Thousands of ignorant writers have written volume after volume about the will, but which of them has ever said anything about the Christic will? 35. Paul Jagot, Atkinson, Mesmer, Marden, etc., who spoke so much about the will, were nothing but simple black magicians, charlatans, con men, that only wished to enslave the will of men, putting it to the service of the base passions and earthly things. 36. Krishnamurti was nothing but an ignorant illiterate, who was only able to see the human will, but not the Christic will. 37. Krishnamurti despised the poor prisoner, but was unable to take off the painful shackles from her. 38. Krishnamurti limited himself to the study of the jails of the will, but was unable to open the doors to the poor prisoner. 39. We can only open these doors of the poor prisoner with the kundalini of the body of will 40. Only by going through the doors of Olin can we break the chains that have made the human will a prisoner of earthly things. 41. Only the key of the kundalini permits us to open the locks of the sinister prison where the human will finds itself prisoner. 42. We must put on our temples the crown of thorns of the Master. 43. The sacred cloth, the divine face with his crown of thorns, symbolizes the Christic will. 44. The holy shroud, or holy cloth, where the face of the Christ remained, imprinted precisely, symbolized the Christic will. 45. When the holy women cleansed the face of the Christ with the holy cloth, they were astonished when they saw the face of the Master on the sacred cloth. 46. With this miracle, the martyr of the Calvary taught us the path of the Christification of the will. 47. The will must kneel before the majesty of the intimate. 48. The will must only obey the intimate. 49. The will that obeys the four bodies of sin lives as a prisoner amongst the chains of bitterness. 50. Father, if thou art willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine, be done. Luke 22, 42 to 45, 51. The human will must put on its temples the crown of thorns. 52. The Christic will only does the will of the Father on earth as it is in heaven. 53. The Christic will is a rebel against the earthly things, because it only obeys the will of the Father. 54. Christ did not give in before Pilate, neither did he bend his knees before Caiaphas, because the Christic will only kneels before the will of the Father. 55. The Christic will is heroic. The Christic will only bends and only kneels before the will of the Father. 56. The Christic will only kneels before the Father. The Christic will is sacrifice and filial love towards the Father. 57. The Christic will is the Son, the cosmic Christ, the martyr of the Calvary in us, the divine face imprinted on the holy cloth. Krishnamurti despised the poor prisoner, but was unable to take off the painful shackles from her. 38. Krishnamurti limited himself to the study of the jails of the will, but was unable to open the doors to the poor prisoner. 39. We can only open these doors of the poor prisoner with the kundalini of the body of will. 40. Only by going through the doors of Olin can we break the chains that have made the human will a prisoner of earthly things. 41. Only the key of the kundalini permits us to open the locks of the sinister prison where the human will finds itself prisoner. 42. We must put on our temples the crown of thorns of the Master. 43. The sacred cloth, the divine face, with his crown of thorns, symbolizes the Christic will. 44. The holy shroud, or holy cloth, where the face of the Christ remained imprinted, precisely symbolized the Christic will. 45. When the holy women cleansed the face of the Christ with the holy cloth, they were astonished when they saw the face of the Master on the sacred cloth. 46. With this miracle, the martyr of the Calvary taught us the path of the Christification of the will. 47. The will must kneel before the majesty of the intimate. 48. The will must only obey the intimate. 49. The will that obeys the four bodies of sin lives as a prisoner amongst the chains of bitterness. 50. Father, if thou art willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. Luke 22:42-45, 51. The human will must put on its temples the crown of thorns. 52. The Christic will only does the will of the Father on earth as it is in heaven. 53. The Christic will is a rebel against the earthly things, because it only obeys the will of the Father. 54. Christ did not give in before Pilate, neither did he bend his knees before Caiaphas, because the Christic will only kneels before the will of the Father. 55. The Christic will is heroic. The Christic will only bends and only kneels before the will of the Father. 56. The Christic will only kneels before the Father. The Christic will is sacrifice and filial love towards the Father. 57. The Christic will is the Son, the cosmic Christ, the martyr of the Calvary in us, the divine face imprinted on the holy cloth.
Chapter 20, Chamber 14. 1. The sacred fire has entered the 14th shaft of your causal body. 2. It is the arcane of temperance, the arcane 14 of the tarot. 3. Chastity, temperance. 4. Enter the temple, my brother, to celebrate your cosmic festivity. 5. Now you sing in a duet with another brother before the altar of God. 6. Understand, my brother, the sacred symbol of all this. 7. A delectable music resounds in the divine ambits with its most ineffable melodies. 8. Form the chain in the temple, brother of my soul. 9. Fight with firm and decisive step along your burning path.
Chapter 21, Chamber 15. 1. Your fifth serpent has entered the chamber 15 of the body of will. 2. This is the arcane 15 of the tarot, Typhoon Baphomet. 3. This is the card of the passion. 4. You have to endure a terrible struggle against the temptations, O Buddha, but you came victorious. 5. You did not adulterate, did not fornicate, and came triumphant. 6. You did not let yourself to be overtaken by anger. 7. You were not inclined towards the carnal passion. 8. You are a victorious one. 9. Listen now, my brother, to those harsh instruments playing the lowest note, the one corresponding to Baphomet. Enter, my brother, enter the temple so that you receive the first festivity of Baphomet, and then enter again, my brother, so that you receive the second celebration with the higher note. Baphomet gives the lowest note and also the highest. Baphomet has two festivities. Baphomet is a mystery of alchemy. One must seal the fire from the devil. One must extract the perfume from the rose and the mud from the earth. See Treatise of Sexual Alchemy by the same author. The body of your will is Christified little by the fire. Your human will is converted into Christic will. Receive your small sword in your breast. This small brooch with a picture of a sword represents the degree of Typhoon Baphomet. The grave in which the body of your animal passions is buried is in the graveyard. In this way, the body of will becomes powerful. In this way, the body of will is Christified. In this way, the ego manas is transformed into fire. The fire transforms and purifies everything. The mystery of Baphomet is sexual alchemy.
Chapter 22. Chamber 16. 1. Your fifth serpent has entered chamber 16. 2. This chamber is the fulminated tower, the obelisk of the Taro. 3. You saw the subtle dangers that the sinister ones put in your path. 4. You already saw, my brother, adepts of the left hand that subtly wanted to fulminate you. 5. Slyly, the brothers of the shadow told you that you were an adept no more, that you had interrupted your luminous progress. And those magicians of the shadow besieged you with those subtle words to fulminate you in the arcane 16. You entered the thick darkness to get the light away from them. And at the end of so much struggles and efforts, you entered the chamber 16. Enter the temple, my brother, to celebrate the occasion. Approach the altar where 2 vases shine with large red roses. An exquisite and delectable music resounds in the divine ambits. Exquisite symphonies celebrate your victory. Your tower could not be fulminated by the tenebrous ones. It stands majestically, and its unconquered walls defy the hurricanes from the abyss. Chapter 23. Chamber 17. A trumpet resounds in all of the vast horizons of space. The star of hope shines. Your fifth serpent has entered the chamber 17 of your spinal column. This is the arcane 17 of the Taro. An ineffable music resounds in the divine ambits. There are festivities in all the temples. There is joy, and the star of hope shines through. Forward, my brother, forward, and do not lose heart. Chapter 24. Chamber 18. 1. Your sacred fire has entered in the chamber 18 of your spinal column. 2. This is 18th card of the tarot, the moon. 3. This is the arcane 18. 4. 2 pyramids, a white and a black one, symbolizing the great battle between the powers of light and the powers of darkness. 5. 2 dogs, a black one and a white one, howling at the moon. 6. The arcane 18 of the tarot represents the occult enemies. 7. You have seen, my brother, your occult enemies. 8. Many of your enemies are gratuitous. However, other enemies only preserve secret vengeance because of the evils that you caused to them. 9. This chamber is very difficult. 10. You fought the indescribable, O Buddha, but at the end you entered. 11. You are in a gathering of 4 masters. You are the 4th one, O Buddha. 12. A great master makes your 5th serpent to rise to the chamber 18. 13. The interior of your head shines with the burning fire. 14. Enter the temple to celebrate the occasion, my brother. 15. Your 5th serpent is going up little by little.
This is the way in which you are Christifying your will. Chapter 25, Chamber 19. 1. The midnight sun shines in the aura of the Father. 2. The temple is holding a celebration. 3. Before the altar we can see many plants adorned with beautiful flowers. 4. We have reached the divine carriage. 5. A blue lamp shines in the sanctuary. 6. An adept puts a flame under the lamp, and the divine blue of this precious lamp ascends by the thin cord from which the lamp hangs. 7. Your fifth serpent has ascended one more shaft, and you have penetrated the arcane 19 of the tarot. 8. This arcane is the carriage of the Pharaoh. 9. This arcane is the card of the inspiration, the sun. 10. This arcane is solar, the sun of the divine kings, the sun of the triumphs, the sun of truth, shines burning. 11. The arcane 19th is the arcane of the presidents, of the kings and the governments. 12. You have seen now, O Buddha, that you are the king of the kings of the world. 13. You have seen now, O Buddha, that you are a ruler that governs the rulers. 14. However, the governments of the earth do not know you. 15. The flag of victory waves. 16. On the right-hand side of your head shines a tiara with 3 diamonds. You know it. 17. Ineffable orchestras resound in the infinite spaces. 18. Vast crowds salute you. 19. Address, my brother, the most humble. 20. People wait for your word. 21. Speak before the crowd that applauds you with frenzy. 22. Now you know that you are in command. 23. You are an invincible king, and the nations obey you. 24. You are the authentic ruler that has the power to govern the rulers. 25. People ignore you. 26. You know it. 27. You have spoken about international law. 28. The frenzied crowds applaud you. 29. You have revised some past acts of past lives, past epochs and facts related to the government of a country in which you were reincarnated. The law of karma wisely weaves everything. 34. Forward, good Buddha, forward. 35. I say to all my Buddhas that every Buddha has his inner Christ, the Glorian, the shining dragon of wisdom that needs to incarnate in himself to be free. Chapter 26, Chamber 20. We have reached the arcane 20 of the tarot. This is the card of the resurrection. To live, we have to die. We have to die with death at the cross, to resurrect from among the living dead. Life feeds itself from death. Death works for life. In each initiation, something dies in us, and something is born. It is necessary that the earthly man die, so that the celestial man is glorified. The sacred fire has entered the chamber 20. Enter, my brother, to celebrate the occasion.
Chapter 27, Chamber 21. The shining star shines in the infinite spaces. Your guru extends the rod and the sacred fire enters the chamber 21 of the tarot. This arcane is the transmutation, transformation. It is necessary to impregnate the chaos with the burning verb, so that life can emerge. It is necessary to impregnate the waters of space with the sacred fire to create the universe. It is necessary to transmute the water into wine. The chaos is the semen contained in our sexual glands. It is necessary to fecundate the chaos with the fire so that life may emerge. It is necessary to reduce the metals of our personality, the prime matter of the great works, to transmute them into the pure gold of the Spirit, into the King crowned with a red tiara.
Chapter 28. Chamber 22. 1. Your sacred fire has entered the arcane 22 of the Tarot, the return, the Fool. 2. When the triad is separated from the inferior quaternary with all its extracts of the mind, we pass by the most solemn of the beheadings. 3. The black magicians are after you, O Buddha. 4. Your executioner brings your cross. 5. The body of will is about to be nailed to the cross. 6. Recline on your cross, O Buddha. 7. The nails pierce the palms of your hands and the arches of your feet. 8. The body of will has been crucified in its wood. 9. This is your 5th cross. 10. The human will has been crucified with an immense pain. 11. The trials have been terrifying, O Buddha. 12. You have learned how to obey the Father, on earth as well as in heaven. 13. You have learned how to obey the law. 14. You are unable to violate the commandments of the Father. 15. You are handling the sword in a wise manner. 16. You are sacrificing yourself for the great work of the Father. 17. The body of will bleeds hanging from his cross. 18. You are a savior of the world.
Chapter 29. Chamber 23. 1. The sacred fire has entered the chamber 23 of the body of will. 2. This is the arcane of the laborer. By working in the great work of the Father, the body of your will goes on Christifying. 3. Get up on your horse. 4. You have arrived at a temple. 5. You are laden with victory. 6. You hang from your cross, and your sacred stigmata bleed. 7. Your Judas accuses you and throws against you the vituperation of the shadowy ones. 8. You have been sold for 30 pieces of silver. 9. The angry crowds hurt you and mock you. 10. You have learned to obey the Father. 11. Your heart bleeds hurt. 12. Those that before used to praise you now vituperate you. 13. They have betrayed you and they have sold you. 14. The Masters brings you down from your cross to celebrate the occasion. 15. Get on your white horse now and march triumphal with the cavalry of Nirvana.
3. Probistmo. 1. Probismo is the science that studies the mental essences that imprison the mind. 2. Probismo is that inner wisdom that permits us to study the jails of the mind. 3. Probismo is that pure science that permits us to know thoroughly the errors of the individual minds. 4. The Buddha, who is rising his 5th serpent over the rod, must study deeply Probismo to guide wisely the train of human evolution along the spiral rail of life. 5. Probismo is the science of the esoteric trials. 6. Every Buddha must study Probismo. 7. The Buddhic self-evidence and self-reflection enable us to take to our intuition concepts of content that are translated into divine intuitions. 8. In this way you are preparing, my brother, as a hierophant of major mysteries. The mind of men must liberate itself from every kind of school, religion, sect, political party, concepts of fatherland and flag, etc. 10. The human mind must liberate itself from fear and desires. 11. The human mind must liberate itself from the longings for accumulation, from attachments, from hates, from selfishness, from violence, etc. 12. The mind must liberate itself from the processes of reasoning that divides the mind in the battle of the antithesis. 13. A mind divided by the depressing process of the option cannot serve as an instrument for the intimate. 14. It is necessary to exchange the reasoning process for the beauty of the comprehension. 15. The process of the conceptual election divides the mind. The wrong action and the useless effort are born there. 16. The desires for what you crave are shackles for the mind. 17. These shackles lead man to all kinds of errors, whose result is karma. 18. Fear exerts over the mind the wish for security. 19. The wish for security enslaves the will, converting it into a prisoner of self-defensive barriers, inside which all human miseries are hidden. 20. Fear brings about all kinds of inferiority complexes. 21. The fear of death makes men to take up arms and to assassinate each other. 22. The man who carries a revolver on his belt is a fearful assassin. 23. The brave man does not carry arms because he is not afraid of anybody. 24. The fear of life, the fear of death, the fear of hunger, the fear of poverty, the fear of cold and nakedness engenders all kinds of inferiority complexes. 25. Fear leads men to violence, hate, exploitation, etc. 26. The probismo is the science that permits the hierophants of major mysteries to know the degree of evolution reached by each disciple. 27. Every Buddha must study probismo thoroughly to get to know deeply the prisons of understanding. 28. The mind of men lives from prison to prison, and each prison is a school, a religion, a mistaken concept, a prejudice, a wish, an opinion, etc. 29. The human mind must learn to flow serenely in an integral way, without the painful process of reasoning, which divides it amongst the battling of the antithesis. 30. The mind must become like a child, so that it can serve as an instrument to the intimate. 31. We must always live in the present, because life is only an eternal instant. 32. We must free ourselves of all kinds of preconceptions and desires. 33. We must only move under the impulses of the intimate. 34. We must be contented with the rights of Kankorita. 35. The rights of Kankorita are bread, shelter, and refuge. 36. A very evolved humanity lives in the planet Venus. 37. The inhabitants of Venus, the star of the dawn, are real artists. 38. Each Venusian family builds its beautiful mansion, its orchard and garden. 39. This is the cosmic order. When the inhabitants of the earth are subject to the cosmic order, the economic problems of the world will disappear forever. 40. The human being has the right to live differently with dignity and beauty because he is not a pig, however. He must be content with the rights of Kankorita. 41. Greed, anger, and lust have their lair in the mind. 42. Greed, anger, and lust lead the souls to the avicii. 43. Man is not the mind. 44. The mind is only one of the bodies of sin. 45. When man identifies with the mind, he goes to the abyss. 46. The mind is only the ass that we must ride to enter into the heavenly Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. 47. One must handle the mind by means of the will. 48. When the mind pesters us with useless representations, we must talk to the mind as follows. 49. Mind, remove this representation. I do not accept it. You are my slave and I am your master. 50. When the mind pesters us with reactions of hate, fear, anger, desires, lust, etc., let us talk to the mind as follows. 51. Mind, remove these things. I do not accept them. I am your master. I am your Lord, and you must obey me, because you are my slave until the consummation of the centuries. 52. We now need men from Telema, men of will, who do not allow themselves to be enslaved by the mind. 53. The Buddha, who is Christifying his will, must study thoroughly the probistemo, to learn wisely all the essences of the mind, all the prisons of the comprehension. 54. In this way, the Hierophant of Major Mysteries can wisely lead the train of human evolution.
Chapter 30, Chamber 24. The sacred fire has entered the chamber 24 of your will. The human soul dies and lives. The human soul dies and returns to life amongst the living dead. This is the arcane of the weaver. 24 is decomposed so. 2 plus 4 equals 6. 6 3 times is the number of the beast. The 6 is the number of the great whore. The 6 is the number of marriage. The 6 is the number of the human karma. The 6 is the number of the lunar karma. The human weaver, the great whore, weaves and unravels her own destiny in this world of sorrows. 11. You have been offered money, O Buddha, to prostitute your science, and you have not accepted it. You have been offered fornications, and you have not accepted them. You only want to carry out the will of the Father, on earth as well as in heaven. You will work with vast crowds. I, Aun Weor, am Samael. In me was incarnated my planetary being, my I Christ, my Glorian. In me was incarnated Samael, the planetary logos of Mars. He lives in me, and I live in him. The one who listens to me listens to the one who sent me. I am Samael.
Chapter 31, Chamber 25. 1. Your sacred fire has entered the chamber 25 of the spinal column. 2. This is the arcane 25 of the tarot, the navigator. 3. You have fought in the great battle against the forces of evil. 4. Sailing in your ark, you have confronted great storms. 5. The battles of the inner worlds are actually gigantic. 6. The Argonaut heroically hurls himself against the great waves of the sea. 7. Roars the tempest of the stormy sea of existence. 8. The hurricane roars, and the Argonaut hurls himself against the storm. 9. Enter the temple, O Buddha, to celebrate the occasion.
Chapter 32, Chamber 26. Your fifth serpent has entered the arcane 26 of the tarot, the prodigy. Your inner powers shine prodigiously. What you are is something that humanity would not understand. What you have learned amongst the flames is something that men cannot understand. Preach in the temples the light. 2 plus 6 equals 8. This number is the one of Job. You have patiently suffered for sorrowful humanity, and now the prodigy of the arcane 26 makes it shine. What you are, humanity would not understand. Only you know what is the world of the mist of fire. It is well worth the trouble to sacrifice us in the great work of the Father.
Chapter 33. Chamber 27. 1. Your sacred fire has entered now in the chamber 27 of the tarot, the unexpected. 2. This chamber has a tremendous explosive power. When it arrives at this chamber, the sacred fire is invested with a frightful power that makes the universe tremble. You see, my brother, that you can already lift a heavy cart without much effort. The motor of your car roars and flares up terrifyingly when you vocalize the letter O. This vowel gives you the power to dominate your 4 bodies of sin. With this vow, we make ourselves obeyed by the bodies of sin. With this vow, we dominate the earthly man. With this vow, we dominate the donkey. You know it. A group of men are preparing to detonate an explosive mine. The earth trembles, a cloud of smoke ascends. It is the unexpected. The scorpion exhales fire. The explosion makes the world tremble. Scorching flames encircle you, and one can hear the sweet and peaceful sound of the lost word. The sacred fire enters the chamber 27 of the spinal column of the body of will. You will work now with human reincarnations. It is your turn to collaborate with the evolutive wave in the processes related to the law of reincarnation and karma. This is a thing of terrifying responsibility, O Buddha. There are 2 kinds of reincarnations. One of them is that of the animals that get individualized by entering for the first time in human organisms. Another one is that of human beings that abandon their human body to enter by the doors of reincarnation in a new human organism. In this labor, you must not have preferences, O Buddha. You should not make dangerous endeavors. You should not mix opposite currents. The body that is assigned to a soul just out of the animal state should not be given to a human soul that is reincarnating, because that kind of preference is a violation of the law. The animal that for the first time awakens to incarnate in a human body has his special vehicle that you must respect. However, if you favor a reincarnating human soul and you were to give it the vehicle assigned to a recently individualized soul coming from the animal kingdom, you would commit an infraction of the law and you would acquire a serious karmic debt. For this reason, there should be no preferences. I tell all the Buddhas that we must not attempt dangerous endeavors, nor should we have preferences towards anybody. I tell my arhats that they should go on understanding these ideas as they go on preparing for the state of Buddhas. I tell my arhats that these laws of the Blessed Goddess Mother of the World are terrifying. I say to all the Buddhas that we should not attempt dangerous endeavors because the violation of every law brings karma. The same happens with those animal organisms prepared for vegetable elementals that have already reached the animal state. We should not undertake dangerous endeavors. We should not give to a recently animalized vegetable elemental the animal organism selected by nature for another elemental from the same animal kingdom or from vegetable kingdoms. We must respect every matrix. The matrix chosen for a given being should be respected and should not be given in a capricious manner to other beings. The Buddha that violates these laws of nature will have to pay karma. In this way, we Buddhas work with the Blessed Mother of the world. However, we must respect her laws.
Chapter 34, Chamber 28. Your sacred fire has entered the arcane 28 of the tarot, the uncertainty. Do you see this human market, O Buddha? They throw dirty water at you, and you do not complain. They throw mud at you, and you do not complain. You are insulted, but you do not protest. The human crowds hate you, O Buddha. They want to burn you in the fire of their anger, and they hurt themselves. Your own fire devours them. You know it. The cosmic justice is the supreme pity and the supreme impiety of the law. 2 + 8 = 10. 10 is the wheel of fortune that turns unceasingly. 10 is the wheel of comprehension. The wheel of fortune turns unceasingly, and the fire of hate burns the riches of the wicked. In this way is the law fulfilled. Enter the temple to celebrate the occasion, my brother.
Chapter 35. The sacred fire has now entered the chamber 29 of the tarot, domesticity. A delightful music resounds in the sacred ambits of this chamber of the temple. The walls of your temple have already been built. Now you have to raise your sacred tower. In this way, your ego manas is being Christified in the world of the will. Plato defined the ego manas as a compound of one and the other. Actually, the ego manas has something of man and something of angel. The ego manas is a mediator between the earthy man and the intimate. When the ego manas learns how to obey the will of the Father on earth as it is in heaven, then he understands the will of the Father, identifies himself with the Father, and Christifies himself. The intimate is symbolized by the fire and by the sun. Our divine consciousness is symbolized by the moon and by the waters of the sea. The ego manas is son of both and is represented by the air. The solar angels, the Agniswatas, gave us the ego manas. The ego manas is a son of the sun and the moon. The ego manas is the human will that must Christify itself to achieve fusion with the intimate.
Chapter 36. Chamber 30. In the train of human evolution you march swiftly, O Buddha. You are poor. You are offered illicit possibilities to get money, but you do not accept them, O Buddha. You are poor and needy. Come into this restaurant, my brother. Here you are offered employment as a waiter to wash the dishes. Accept this magnificent job, my brother. Humble service is better than stealing or swindling. Humble work has great merit in the human evolution. Humble work is in tune with the hierarchy. You are hungry, O Buddha. Sit down to eat at the table of the servants. Eat with humility, my brother. A group of beggars surrounds you. Share your bread with them. Here, one of the dirtiest and most ragged beggars approaches you and offers you a piece of bread. Receive it with humility, my brother. Receive it, and do not look down on the humble. An interchange of love is preferable to an exchange of profiteers. You have succeeded in your test, O Buddha. If you had failed in your test, if you had looked down on the humble, if you had been overtaken by greed, you would have failed this esoteric degree. You have succeeded, O Buddha, and your sacred fire has reached the sacred chamber of the verb. This is the arcane 30 of the Taro exchange. In the chalice shines the head crowned by thorns. The human will is being totally converted into Christic will. You have already received your mission, O Buddha. The burning fire of your fifth serpent shines in the chakra of your larynx. You speak in the verb of light, and your verb is the verb of gold.
Chapter 37. Chamber 31. The sacred fire has entered chamber 31 of your spinal chamber.
You have been submitted to all sort of tests, and you have emerged triumphant. Walk with the child of your Christified will in your arms towards the Gnostic Church. The crown of the saints shines on every side of your head. Enter the temple to celebrate the occasion, my brother. This is the 31st card of the tarot, Impediment. These two children symbolize two paths that are open in front of you, like the great V of victory. You are before two paths. One of these paths is the Logoic path, the path of the starry heavens, the spiral path of the firmament. The other one is the path of the long and bitter duty that takes us to the actual entrance of the Absolute. The Swami Vikamananda has said that when the initiate tries to penetrate the Absolute, tempting gods appear that offer to make him king of determined zones of the universe to stop him from attaining his freedom. These tempting gods have been unable to become free and, jealous of their own hierarchy, tempt the passers-by to stop their entrance to the Absolute. These beings are 1,000 times more dangerous than humans are. A great divine hierarch comes to meet you when you arrive at the point of departure of the two paths. This great hierarch offers you the wonders of infinity, and jealous of his own hierarchy, he invites you to enter the nirvanic path and warns you of the dangers of the long and bitter duty that directly leads to the Absolute. Define yourself now and enter. I tell my arhats that it is better to enter the path of long and bitter duty. I tell them that the nirvanic logic path offers us many paradises, but it is dangerous. There are millions of gods laden with very serious karmic compromises. There are millions of gods that have been unable to enter the ineffable happiness of the Absolute. The path of the long and bitter duty leads us directly to the uncreated light of the Absolute. The path of the long and bitter duty leads us to the ineffable happiness of the not-being that is truly the real being. The path of the long and bitter duty leads us to the profound blackness of the not-being. In this profound blackness, the uncreated light shines. In the path of the long and bitter duty, we go on awakening our consciousness, plane after plane, until awakening totally in the Absolute. The one who awakens the Absolute consciousness stops existing and passes on to the being. The one who awakens the Absolute consciousness enters the ineffable happiness of the purest parinishpana. The one who awakens the Absolute consciousness is a paramartasa, who is beyond consciousness. The Absolute contains the one who knows, the knowledge and what is known, inside a total unity. The Absolute is beyond the light and the darkness. The Absolute is beyond the spirit and the matter. The Absolute is beyond reason and beyond the silence and the sound and the ears to perceive it. The Absolute is beyond consciousness. The aspects of the Absolute are abstract space, eternity, and movement. The void, the darkness, and the no-I of the philosophy are the absolute unity. That void is plenitude, that darkness is uncreated light, and that no-I of the philosophy is the being, the real I, the already liberated intimate. When the peak hour of the first instant sounded, the brilliant sons of the dawn of the Mahanvantra came out of the entrails of the Absolute because they had not awakened the Absolute consciousness. And the Absolute without the Absolute consciousness is not happiness. Paranishpana, the happiness of the Absolute, without paramartasa, the awakened consciousness, is not happiness. If we deposit in the Absolute an ordinary man after disincarnation, this man would be full of horror before the profound darkness of the not-being and before the horrible void of the no-I. Then he would beg to be taken away from the Absolute and be taken to the world.
Only the Absolute is absolute happiness for the Paramartasas, for those who are liberated from the cosmos and have awakened the Absolute consciousness. Fertilizing the chaotic matter, the fire will make the cosmic life grow after each profound night. The fire and the water are the father and mother of the universe. The fire is the masculine pole, and the water is the feminine principle. The fire is represented by the vertical phallus, and the water by the horizontal line. Both together form a cross. The fire fertilizes the water, is symbolized by the sign of the cross.
54. The fire is the father, and the water the mother of the universe. Both together form the cross. 55. The universe is the sun that hangs from the cross. 56. The cross rises amongst the water of the chaos in which the Christ is Christified. 57. Christ is a Paramarta Satya. 58. Christ is the only one engendered. 59. Christ has absolute consciousness. 60. Christ is an inhabitant of the Absolute. 61. Christ left the Absolute to govern the whole of the cosmos. 62. The Father of whom Christ speaks is the Ancient, the Being. 63. Christ is the mediator between men and the Ancient of Days. 64. He told the Christ, "You are my Son. I have engendered you today." 65. You are eternally a priest, according to the orders of Melchizedek. 66. In many and various ways God spoke of old to our fathers by the prophets, but in these last days he has spoken to us by a Son, whom he appointed the heir of all things, through whom also he created the world. He reflects the glory of God and bears the very stamp of his nature, upholding the universe by his word of power. When he had made purification for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high, having become as much superior to angels as the name he has obtained is more excellent than theirs. For to what angel did God ever say, "You are my Son, today I have begotten thee"? Or again, "I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son"? And again, when he brings the firstborn into the world, he says, "Let all God's angels worship him." Of the angels he says, "Who makes his angels winds, and his servants flames of fire?" But of the Son he says, "Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. The righteous scepter is the scepter of thy kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated lawlessness. Therefore God, thy God, has anointed thee with the oil of gladness beyond thy comrades. And thou, Lord, didst found the earth in the beginning, and the heavens are the work of thy hands. They will perish, but thou remainest. They will all grow old like a garment. Like a mantle thou wilt roll them up, and they will be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years will never end. But to what angel has he ever said, "Sit at my right hand, till I make thy enemies a stool for thy feet"? Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to serve for the sake of those who are to obtain salvation? Hebrews 1, verses 1 to 14. Chapter 38, Chamber 32. 1. Your sacred fire has entered chamber 32 of your spinal column. 2. This is the arcane 32 of the tarot, magnificence. 3. You have been successful in all the tests. 4. You have been offered riches, pleasures, fornication, and earthly magnificence, and which you have rejected with energy. 5. This arcane belongs to the degree of Lion of the Law. 6. You are indifferent before praise and vituperation, before wealth and poverty, before triumph and defeat. 7. You have learned to recognize the good in the bad and the bad in the good. 8. You have learned to handle the sword of cosmic justice. 9. In all of these tests, you have emerged victorious. 10. You have learned to recognize the just. 11. Justice is beyond good and evil. 12. The gods are beyond good and evil. 13. Justice gives our consciousness the absolute equilibrium and the perfect rectitude. 14. Justice is the supreme piety and the supreme impiety of the law. 15. The great hierarchs of karma have heads of a jackal with ears of a wolf. 16. In the constellation of the great dragon that shines in the north reside the great lords of karma that rise and sink continents and that punish mankind. 17. The 7 Pleiades rule the karma of the nations. 18. In the polar star of the north live those that create races that rule the destiny of the human races. 19. All these beings are beyond good and evil. 20. You have rejected all the splendors of the earth, all the pleasures of your race, and now you are a lion of the law. 21. Enter the temple, my brother, with the oil lamp in your hand. 22. Your celebration with joy. 23. Your oil lamp always burns before the cloth of the Veronica. 24. Your human will is being converted into Christic will.
Chapter 38. Chamber 32. Your sacred fire has entered chamber 32 of your spinal column. This is the arcane 32 of the Tarot, magnificence. You have been successful in all the tests. You have been offered riches, pleasures, fornication, and earthly magnificence in which you have rejected with energy. This arcane belongs to the degree of lion of the law. You are indifferent before praise and vituperation, before wealth and poverty, before triumph and defeat. You have learned to recognize the good in the bad, and the bad in the good. You have learned to handle the sword of cosmic justice. In all of these tests, you have emerged victorious. You have learned how to recognize the just. Justice is beyond good and evil. The gods are beyond good and evil. Justice gives our consciousness the absolute equilibrium and the perfect rectitude. Justice is the supreme piety and the supreme impiety of the law. The great hierarchs of karma have heads of a jackal with ears of a wolf. In the constellation of the great dragon that shines in the north reside the great lords of karma that rise and sink continents and that punish mankind. The 7 Pleiades rule the karma of the nations. In the polar star of the north live those that create races that rule the destiny of the human races. All these beings are beyond good and evil. You have rejected all the splendors of the earth, all the pleasures of your race, and now you are a lion of the law. Enter the temple, my brother, with the oil lamp in your hand. Receive your celebration with joy. Your oil lamp always burns before the cloth of the Veronica. Your human will is being converted into Christic will. Chapter 39. Chamber 33. The sacred fire has entered the arcane 33 of the Tarot, the Alliance. The ego Manas has married the beautiful Ellen. You have succeeded in your chastity test. The wings of Mercury shine in the altar of the temple. The sacred fire flames searing in your pineal gland. Now we only await the fusion of the ego Manas with the beautiful Ellen. Patiently wait for the initiation. The number 800 shines over the altar.
The number 8 repeated in the Buddhi and the Atman will give later on the 888, which is the number of the solar logos. The white dove of the Holy Spirit shines above your head. The AOM resounds in the profound ambits of the temple. The temple is full of flowers, and a delightful music resounds in all the infinite spaces. The will of the Son and the will of the Father have formed an alliance, and the Son must throw a crown at the feet of the Lamb. You have been tested and tested again, and are now perfectly prepared for the initiation. Wait, O Buddha, for that happy moment.
4. The first shaft. 1. Your fifth serpent has entered the first spinal vertebra of the body of will, the tarot card. 2. A majestic temple opens up with an enormous altar on which a sacred cloth is spread out. 3. The executioners whip you. The angry crowd shout, "Crucifixia, crucifixia, crucifixia." 4. Now you can walk. Oh, Buddha, carrying your cross on the way to Calvary. 5. The holy women near you cry, the crowd stone you, and the crown of thorns pierces your aching temples. Forgive the crowds and bless them. 6. In the temples, an exquisite music resounds with its sweet melodies. 7. The serpent of the body of will has already started its progress towards Calvary, and you have reached the first degree of the Christic will, the magician of the tarot. 8. We have 7 sacred serpents, 2 groups of 3, with the sublime coronation of the 7th tongue of fire that unifies us with the One, with the law, and with the Father. 9. These 7 sacred serpents belong to the 7 bodies of man. 10. When we were elemental, we had these 7 serpents above the rod, but when we ate from the fruit of the forbidden tree, the 7 serpents descended and remained enclosed and prisoner in the coccygeal center. 11. Now man will have to raise his 7 serpents above the rod, in the same way that Moses did in the desert. 12. Each serpent will rise in successive order. 13. The first serpent rises with the first initiation of major mysteries, the second with the second initiation, the third with the third initiation, the fourth with the fourth initiation, the fifth with the fifth initiation, the sixth with the sixth initiation, and the seventh with the seventh initiation. 14. A body of beauty must replace each one of our bodies of sin. 15. With the serpent of the physical body, we build a body of liberation made of the purest musk. 16. With the serpent of the etheric body, we build the soma puchikon, or body of gold. 17. With the serpent of the astral body, we build the eye Christ. 18. With the serpent of the mental body, we build the mind Christ. 19. Thus the body of liberation, the soma puchikon, the eye Christ, and the mind Christ replace the physical, vital, astral, and mental bodies. 20. Thus the fire renews everything, and the celestial man replaces the earthly man. 21. The 7 serpents rise above the rod, practicing sexual magic with the priestess wife. 22. There can be sexual connection, but not a drop of semen must be spilled. 23. The restrained desire will make our seminal liquid rise up towards the head, and we are converted into omnipotent gods of the universe. 24. In this way, we see our 7 serpents being risen above the rod, as Moses did in the desert. 25. However, the unmarried men and women will transmute their sexual energy by means of the music, the devotion, the oration, and the love of God and the fellow men and women. 26. The unmarried will raise each of their serpents by the strength of the sacrifice. 27. Sexual abstention is a tremendous sacrifice. 28. Only the path of chastity and holiness brings us to the great accomplishments. 29. Only the path of perfection, the unselfish service in favor of the poor suffering humanity, take us to the ineffable happiness of the nirvana. 30. Be pure, my love, be perfect, be chaste in thought, word, and deed. 31. Move forward, O Buddha, move forward with your cross on your back towards the Golgotha of the Father. You have started your journey with the first card of the tarot.
Chapter 39. Chamber 33. The sacred fire has entered the arcane 33 of the tarot, the alliance. The ego Manas has married the beautiful Ellen. You have succeeded in your chastity test. The wings of Mercury shine in the altar of the temple. The sacred fire flames searing in your pineal gland. Now we only await the fusion of the ego Manas with the beautiful Ellen. Patiently wait for the initiation. The number 800 shines over the altar. The number 8 repeated in the Buddhani and the Atman will give later on the 888, which is the number of the solar logos. The white dove of the Holy Spirit shines above your head. The Om resounds in the profound ambits of the temple. The temple is full of flowers, and a delightful music resounds in all the infinite spaces. The will of the Son and the will of the Father have formed an alliance, and the Son must grow a crown at the feet of the Lamb. You have been tested and tested again, and are now perfectly prepared for the initiation. Wait, O Buddha, for that happy moment.
Chapter 41. The Frontal Chakra. The sacred fire has now arrived at the space between the eyebrows, where the frontal chakra shines. The coronary chakra has now been completely connected with the frontal chakra. An interchange of currents between the pineal gland and the pituitary gland glows aflame. The pituitary gland is the page and the antechamber of the pineal gland. The pineal gland is the eye of Dharma. The eye of Dharma is the unique eye that awakens up with the conjunction of the buddhi and the ego Manas. The Manas Putras, the great beings, gave us the buddhi from Mercury. The buddhi must absorb the ego Manas. Now the eye of Dharma glows, and its page of the frontal chakra shines in the space between the eyebrows. The sun shines, tearing the clouds. 3 children kneel. There is a celebration in the temple. There is joy. 7 sacred chambers connect the head to the heart.
Chapter 42. The magnetic field at the root of the nose. The sacred fire has now entered the magnetic field at the root of the nose. This magnetic field is intimately related to the solar and lunar atoms. The pure akasha that circulates by the Brahmanic cord goes over this magnetic field at the root of the nose. The 3 breaths of pure akasha descend from the Brahmanic cord to combine with the seminal atoms that ascend when the sexual impulse is reined back. When the man ejaculates the semen during the practices of sexual magic, the 3 breaths then combine with the atoms gathered from the individual hells of man. After the ejaculation, the peristaltic movement of the sexual organs gathers from our particular atomic hells billions of demonic atoms that ascend by the Brahmanic cord to combine with the 3 breaths of pure akasha. In this way, the kundalini, instead of ascending by the Madonna, then descends from the coccygeal bone, forming the famous tail of the demons. However, when the sexual impulse is reined back to avoid the seminal ejaculation, then the seminal atoms ascend to combine with the 3 breaths of pure akasha. In this way, the kundalini awakens in a positive manner, ascending by the spinal cord. In this way, we realize ourselves as masters of Mahamvandra.
The solar and lunar atoms make contact in the root of the nose. This magnetic field attracts the best atoms of the universe when we live a chaste and pure life. A master treats all these centers for you in an occult manner. The frontal chakra and the pineal gland, that is the glands epiphysis and hypophysis, are true universal worlds that glow, glitter, shine. In the temple, the occasion of this first holy chamber is being celebrated. From the space between the eyebrows to the heart, there are 7 holy chambers that communicate the chalice with the heart.
Chapter 43. Second Chamber. 1. The sacred fire has entered the second holy chamber that goes from the space between the eyebrows to the heart. 2. The temple where you are going to receive your 5th initiation of major mysteries is still closed, awaiting the solemn instant of the heart. 3. It is a gigantic temple. 4. An adept lady opens the door of the great monastery. 5. Enter, O Buddha, and wait for the hour. 6. There is a celebration because of the triumph of the new chamber. 7. Be patient, O Buddha. Chapter 43. Second Chamber. 1. The sacred fire has entered the second holy chamber that goes from the space between the eyebrows to the heart. 2. The temple where you are going to receive your 5th initiation of major mysteries is still closed, awaiting the solemn instant of the heart. 3. It is a gigantic temple. 4. An adept lady opens the door of the great monastery. 5. Enter, O Buddha, and wait for the hour. 6. There is a celebration because of the triumph of the new chamber. 7. Be patient, O Buddha.
Chapter 45. Fourth Chamber. 1. The sacred fire has reached the 4th chamber of your spinal column. 2. Rejoice, O Buddha. 3. Persevere and do not weaken. 4. Be faithful until death, and I will give you the crown of life. 5. Enter the temple to receive the celebration.
Chapter 46. Fifth Chamber. 1. The sacred fire enters now your 5th chamber. 2. Receive your celebration, O Buddha.
Chapter 47. Sixth Chamber. 1. You feel a great disquiet, O Buddha. 2. You feel that they are calling you at the temple. 3. Duty also calls you. 4. Whom will you listen to? 5. Whom will you obey? 6. Will you listen to your duty, or will you hear the call from the temple? 7. Oh my God, if you do not succeed in this test. 8. Who are calling you from the temple? 9. Observe the door of the sanctuary. 10. Can you see those refined black magicians that are calling you? 11. Amongst the incense and prayer, crime is also hiding. 12. You have learned how to obey the fulfillment of your duty. 13. You have learned how to do your duty. 14. You have succeeded in the test. 15. Enter the temple to celebrate the occasion.
Chapter 48. Seventh Chamber. The sacred fire has entered the 7th chamber. You have reached the peaceful heart. Your heavenly Father arrives now and places on you the crown of the king and the sovereign shroud.
The sacred light shines. You are a king. Your stellar father has crowned you. There is ineffable music. There is infinite joy. The Kundalini has connected the head to the heart. Your fifth serpent has completed its journey. Now the sacred fire will pass by the first 4 centers of the heart. When it arrives to the 5th center, you will receive the initiation. Chapter 49. First center of the heart. 1. The sacred fire has entered the first sacred center of the heart. 2. Look at this small temple, my brother. At the right there is a white magician, and at the left a black one. The good and bad thieves. 3. Light and darkness in unceasing struggle. 4. Enter now to receive your celebration. This is the first sacred center of the heart.
5. The second shaft. 1. Sexual alchemy activates terrifying cosmic powers that open access to you to each of the 33 sacred chambers of the body of will. 2. Forward, O Buddha, forward. The sinister ones close your path. Defeat them, my brother. Defeat them with the well-tempered edge of your sword. 3. Shine the ineffable light inside your own dwelling. 4. Leave your shoes outside and enter, O Buddha. 5. Your 5th serpent has entered the 2nd vertebra of the spinal column of the body of will, the priestess of the tarot, the 2nd card, 6. There is ineffable music in the divine confines of the temple. 7. There is joy in the world of the natural causes. This is the occult wisdom of the 2nd card of the tarot. 8. The body of will is being converted into the Christ will. 9. The ego menace is liberating itself from the material things. 10. The Christic will always knows how to obey the Father. 11. The human will must liberate itself from all kinds of limitations. 12. The will must liberate itself from all sorts of preconceptions. 13. The will must liberate itself from all sorts of prejudices. 14. The will must not be converted into simple barriers of fear. 15. The will must not be subject to desires. 16. The human will must become the Christic will to understand life in its free movement. 17. The will must not be a simple instrument of fear. 18. The will must not be enslaved by the preconceptions amassed in the dust of the centuries. 19. The will must become a child. 20. The ego manas must learn to live always in the present, because life is an eternal instant. 21. The will must liberate itself from the earthly things and throw itself totally into the arms of the Father. 22. Go forward, O Buddha, go forward.
Chapter 50. Second Center. The sacred fire has entered the 2nd center of the heart. A group of small horses pulls your cart. Enter the temple to celebrate the occasion.
Chapter 51. Third Center. 1. The sacred fire has entered the 3rd center of the heart. 2. A train in movement. 3. A band of delightful music. 4. The bull of passions is dead. 5. The enemy is defeated. 6. Advance the work of the Father. 7. You are victorious, O Buddha.
Chapter 52. 4th Center. 1. The sacred fire has now entered in the 4th center of the heart. 2. Receive your powers and keep an absolute silence. 3. Keep quiet, O Buddha. 4. The child escapes from the prison. 5. The ego manas has liberated itself. 6. Your human will has been converted into Christic will. 7. Keep quiet, O Buddha.
Chapter 53. Fifth Center. 1. I have called the elemental Sphinx of nature. The Sphinx has come to me from the desert. The Sphinx has suffered much. Its feet are full of mud. Men had made the millennial Sphinx suffer. I have kissed the Sphinx with a holy kiss. The Sphinx has fixed the date of my initiation. Now I walk meditating on the mystery of the Sphinx. The Inferno of Dante opens up before my feet. Inferior regions of passionate focus. I momentarily descend to those abysses. One of the lords of karma warns me that I have already suffered too much for 3 years, and that now I have to dress better. I ask whether my practices of sexual magic are correct, and the master answers me, yes, they are correct. Intensely practicing sexual magic with the woman, I have raised my fifth serpent above the rod. The static electricity becomes active only when the magnetic fields are intensely magnetized. The electricity moves whenever it wants and vibrates, but can only be utilized when it is constrained to pass by the electromagnets, where it accumulates. No electrical generator could generate electricity if beforehand the magnetic fields had not been intensely magnetized. The electricity is the daughter of magnetism and can only be generated by means of magnetism. Electricity is the wife of the magnetism and can only be generated in sexual marriage with the magnetism. Man and woman must magnetize each other by means of the sexual magic, so that from the magnetic fields of our sexual organs, the divine electricity of the Kundalini is generated. Enter now to receive your initiation, my brother. The temple is full of glory. You are the son of your own wife. She has given birth to you as a master of the cosmos. Osiris is husband, son, and brother of Isis. Do not forget this. The cynocephalo is a monkey with a dog head and has a rod with 7 knots in his right hand. The cynocephalo is the Mercury of the secret philosophy, is the organs of the sexual passion, is the insatiable thirst of the sex, and is the beast from where we must heroically extract the sacred fire. The Mercury, that is, the semen of the cynocephalo, must always be between Isis and Osiris to realize the great work. You have generated your Christic will. Your human will has become Christic will. You have already sat down on your new throne. The initiator has extracted from your causal body a very precious child, your Christic will. This precious child unites now with your intimate. The whole of your personality has been absorbed by your soul buddhi manas. You have been left totally illuminated, full of terrifying powers that flame in the universal fire. The conjunction of buddhi manas has opened for you the eye of Dharma. You are a master of Shamati, a son of the light. You now love your wife more than before. She is your mother. Love elevates the souls. Love generates gods. The woman is the door of Eden, and those who enter by that door will drink the pure water of life, and they will never be thirsty.
Chapter 54. We must obey the will of the Father, because man is vain and foolish. Actually, human consciousness is vain. Personal life is vain. Human science is vain. Reason is illusory. Human actions are illusory. The only thing that is real is the Absolute. The Absolute is expressed as an impersonal movement. The great breath of the Absolute draws the human multitudes like dry leaves in summer. The multitudes are leaves drawn by the terrifying wind. Man knows nothing, because the only one who knows is the Absolute. The mind and the human personality, with all of their affections and loves, have got us chained to the rocks of pain and bitterness.
Let the will of the Father be done, because mine is worth nothing.
Chapter 55. 1. Do not forget, my son, that the Father is the Ancient of the Days. 2. The intimate is nothing but the very beloved Son of the Father. 3. The Ancient of the Days is your real being. 4. You are the Ancient of the Days. 5. The Ancient of the Days is that ray from which emanated your intimate. 6. There are as many fathers in heaven as men on earth. 7. The Ancient of the Days is the ray emanated from the Absolute. 8. This ray is a breath for itself, deeply ignited from a vapor of the great breath. 9. All of the great breath is the army of the voice. It is the Logos, the creative word of the first instant.
Chapter 56. Listen to me, O Buddhas. Listen, sons, and listen, ancient ones. The waters are the pristonic semen of the universe. Everything comes from the sea. Everything goes back to the sea. The sea is the semen of the universe. This sea is in our sexual glands. These are the waters of Genesis, the waters of space. The semen is the mercury of the secret philosophy, of the Mula Prakriti of the Orientals, of the chaos. There is only one infinite substance. The combinations of the infinite substance are marvelous. This infinite substance is the universal semen. This semen is the sea, the water of all creation, the great ocean from which everything comes and everything returns. It is the great life.
Chapter 57. The Sex. The swan symbolizes the love. In Eden, the swans of immaculate whiteness serve at the table of the gods. In Eden, the swans of livid plumage prepare in their immaculate gullets ineffable dishes that they place amongst the glasses of the angels. The angels drink dishes from Eden, divine dishes that the swan refines in its adamantine gullet. The swan, Kalahamsa, floats on the waters of life. The combinations of the infinite substance are marvelous. The seminal waters are transformed into ineffable dishes inside the gullet of the swan. The continents with everything that exists came out of the sea and will return to the sea. The elementals of the trees also love each other. The wedding beds for these ineffable beings are the roots of the trees. They unite sexually without spilling the semen. Thus the seed penetrates the abdomen of the female. When life is crystallized, then appears the fruit in the plants. Thus surges the life of the etheric world. The etheric world is Eden. From Eden life is born. Listen to me, O Buddhas. Do not spill your semen, and then you will return to Eden. Everything comes out of the sex. Everything comes out of love. The swan symbolized love. The swan feeds itself with love. When one of the couple dies, the other dies of unhappiness. All the lives that palpitate are one single great life, hidden in the seminal waters of life. My sons, you are the sun, and are the ant, the peaceful and solitary tree, and the rebel eagle. We all are the great life that palpitates in each heart. That great universal life is hidden in the great sexual ocean of love. The swan of immaculate whiteness serves the table of the angels. The water is the semen. The combinations of the infinite substance are marvelous. Let us do the will of the Father on earth as it is in heaven. Amen.
Chapter 6. The Third Chamber.
The sacred fire of the body of will has now penetrated the third spinal chamber of the body of will. A strange trumpet resounds. Go out now, O Buddha. Go out now with your guru. In the temple, my brother, receive the rune Hagal, the star with the 6 points, the divine breath of the sacred music of God. Shine the sacred star with an ineffable glow. You have entered the kingdom of the music. Delicious, ineffable melodies resound in the divine ambits of the causal world. Exquisite symphonies, impossible to describe in human words. You have joined, my brother, the Academy of Music of the causal world, or world of the will. A great master of music runs this sacred college. This master of music welcomes you. This teacher is a genius of the divine art, officiating in the temple of music. His hair is long and gray, his face is like lightning, and it clearly reveals the majesty of God. All disciples of this sacred college of music are Buddhas. Now the old teacher extends his hand affectionately and shows you a secret greeting by means of which the adepts recognize each other. The Christic will is ineffable music. The world of will is that of the music. The music gives the will the ineffable harmony of the gods. The music and the will form a marriage of love, impossible to describe in human words. The music gives the will the ethnic ensemble of the beauty. The music gives the will the harmony of the great cosmic diapason. The acts of will of the music are as harmonious and solemn as the movement of the stars in space. While the 5th degree of the power of fire has not entered the third spinal chamber of the body of will, the acts of will not be in agreement with the vibrant harmonies of the solemn cosmic symphonies. The will, when apart from the music, is rough and coarse, like the caress of a feline beast. However, when the sacred fire has entered the third spinal chamber of the body of will, the acts of will are actual living symphonies. The Christic will has got the majesty of the tempest and the love of the morning star. The music gives the will the eurythmics of an Apollo and the beauty of the Venus of Milo. The will of the music is the phallus of the gods. The masters of the music are columns of the temple of the living God. The music generates acts as perfect as the harmonies of the cosmic diapason. The whole of the universe is the temple of music. Arthur Schopenhauer, in his book entitled The World as Representation and Will, conceives nature as the living incarnation of will. He, however, forgot that will is music. Each living flower, the sigh of every bird, and the love hidden in the breast of the earth are the living incarnation of music. Everything in nature has its key note, and the ensemble of all these constitute that superb tone of the Great Mother that resounds amongst the burning space of the Chinese Kung. When Joshua sounded the trumpet, the walls of Jericho fell down because he played the key note of these unconquered walls. A soft word pacifies anger, and the discordant words break the harmony of the cosmic diapason and generate disorders. The ineffable orchestras of the zodiacal belt resound in the world of will, taking us to the most sublime peaks of samadhi. The great rhythms of fire give rise to the dance of the stars in the incommensurable spaces. The will of music sustains the flux and reflux of life and moves the pendulum of the infinite existences during the whole of the Mahanmantra. The verb, the word, is incarnated in the heart of each lotus and the pulsation of each life. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God.
All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came for testimony, to bear witness to the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness to the light. The true light that enlightens every man was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world knew him not. He came to his own home, and his people received him not. But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh, and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. We have beheld his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father. And from his fullness have we all received grace upon grace. Music is the will of God. Music is the Christic will. Classical music generates universes and sustains suns during the great cosmic day. One goes into ecstasy when listening to compositions such as the 9 symphonies of Beethoven. One is overwhelmed when in ecstasy amongst the notes of Mozart, Chopin, and Liszt. Every straight action is music of light. Every mistaken action is fatal music. Negative music such as the mambo, the guaracha, the porro, the cumbia, etc., is infernal music, is music of the abyss that only gives rise to fornication, adulteries, hate, overeating, drunkenness, and crimes. With this, we prove that the will is music, and every action is the daughter of music. The war marches inflame men and lead them to violence. The funeral marches fill the eyes with tears and give rise to confusion of faces and sorrows. The human words are articulated music, sometimes sweet and mild like ineffable melodies, sometimes satanic and discordant like infernal notes. The articulated word is a terrible weapon, as much for good as for evil. When humanity had not yet left Eden, it only spoke the verb of the light, which like a river of gold flowed sweetly under the forest full of sun. In this ineffable verb of the gods, for the whole of nature, amongst the ineffable depth of the music. The verb of the gods is sacred music. This divine verb has its sacred alphabet, and these sacred alphabets are the divine runes. See the igneous rose by the same author. The creative larynx is the sexual organ of the Christic will. The verb of the gods gives existence to the worlds. The verb of the gods is the Christic will. The sacred mantras, chis, chase, chos, chus, and chas, totally develop and unfold the chakras of the astral body. Chis, for clairvoyance, chase, for the hidden ear, chos, for the heart, chus, for the solar plexus, chos, for the pulmonary chakras. Our disciples will vocalize these mantras daily for an hour to develop the chakras of their astral bodies, and then they will be able to perceive the inner worlds. The vowels of these mantras must be pronounced properly so that they give rise to a positive result. One must vocalize extending the sound as much as possible. One must vocalize the S as a sibilant, sharp sound, similar to the one produced by a compressed air brake, a prolonged sound, and a sibilant sound. This is the way to pronounce it. Cheese, cheese, chos, choose, chos. With this explanation, we wish to say that the sound of each of the mantras cheese, chase, chose, choose, and chas must be prolonged. It is understood that extending the sound of the vowels and the hiss of the s prolongs the sound of the mantras. The very powerful mantras of the great verb of the light develop the chakras of the astral body of all our disciples completely. The verb of gold resounds in all creation. The verb of gold is the Christic will. Rejoice, O Buddha, because now you have entered the temple of music. Study with patience the divine art of the music. From this moment, the teacher in this sacred college will teach you the music will. The music will is the Christic will.
Chapter 7. The Transmutation. 1. We have now entered the arcane 21st of the tarot. 2. If we add up this number, we obtain the number 3 that belongs to the degree 3 of the body of will. 3. This is the sacred chamber of the temple of music. 4. The transmutation of the water into wine inside the matrix of our own organic laboratory is only possible by the domination of the animal impulse by means of the will music. 5. We already know that the will is the same as music, and because of this we assert that the music will permits us to transmute our semen into Christic energy. 6. Therefore the sexual magic is ineffable music, is an exquisite melody transmuting the semen into the wine of light of the alchemist. 7. If we take into account that only by means of the willpower can we refrain the sexual act to transmute the water into wine, then we reach the logical conclusion that the music is the only one that can open for us the secret chambers of the spinal column. 8. However, we should not establish an abyss between the music and the will, because music and will are the same thing. 9. Sexual alchemy is only possible by learning how to play the lyre of our will. 10. This is the 21 arcane of the tarot. This is degree 3 of the 5th serpent. 11. The music converts men into gods. 12. Those that are still weak-willed must daily sing the rune Torn. 13. This exercise will be realized by the disciple putting his right hand on the waist or hip, and then vocalizing the syllabi, ta, te, ti, to, tu, extending the sound of each vowel. Then he will vocalize the mantra Torn as follows. Torn. 14. With this indication, we wish to affirm that we must prolong the sound of each letter. 15. We know that sexual magic is hard and difficult for men of weak will, and because of this we recommend our disciples first practice the exercises of the rune Torn to acquire the strength of will that permits them to manipulate the sexual magic heroically. 16. The music will acts on our water, semen, transmuting it into Christic energy, that is, into the wine of light of the alchemist. 17. The rune Torn is solar and is governed by the zodiacal sign of Libra. 18. We already know that the zodiacal sign Libra governs the kidneys. 19. There are 2 chakras in our kidneys that register our degree of chastity, or degree of animal fornication. 20. This is why the Bible says the following. 21. And to the angel of the church in Thyatira write the words of the Son of God, who has eyes like a flame of fire, and whose feet are like burnished bronze.
I know your works, your love and faith and service and patient endurance, and that your latter works exceed the first. But I have this against you, that you tolerate the woman Jezebel, who calls her a prophetess, and is teaching and beguiling my servants to practice immorality and to eat food sacrificed to idols. I gave her time to repent, but she refuses to repent of her immorality. Behold, I will throw her on a sickbed, and those who commit adultery with her I will throw into great tribulation, unless they repent of her doings. And I will strike her children dead. And all the churches shall know that I am he who searches mind and heart, and I will give to each of you as your works deserve. Rev. 2, 18-24. 22. The clairvoyant can observe the chakras of the kidneys, a dirty red color for the fornicator, an immaculate white color for the chaste. 23. The color of the rune torn is orange, green, and yellow. The precious stone of this rune is the carneal, and the metal is the gold. 24. The music will is the sacred arcane of the transmutation. 25. The music permits us to transmute the water into wine. 26. The chamber 3 of our fifth serpent is the ineffable temple of the music.
Chapter 8. The fourth chamber. 1. A delicious orchestra resounds in the world of natural causes. 2. Enter the temple, O Buddha, so that you can receive your symbolic shield. 3. The sacred fire of your fifth serpent has entered the fourth chamber of your body of will. 4. Hoist your flag, conqueror emperor. 5. Attend the supper of light, O Buddha. 6. The fourth arcane is the Emperor of the Tarot, and it is just that you receive your shield, and that you hoist your flag, so that you rule the world of will. 7. This is the flag of the Virgin. 8. This is the flag of the goddess Nature, Isis, Adonia, Astarte. 9. 1 is the Father, 2 the Mother, 3 the Son, and 4 the family. The flag of the great goddess is the symbol of the universal family, is the symbol of what has been created. 11. The numerical value of the sign Olin of the Aztecs is 4. Now include in yourself, O Buddha, the 4 characteristics of the Sphinx. You have the intelligence of the gods, the daring of the lion, the tenacity of the ox, and the majestic wings of the spirit.
9. Will and desire. 1. Will and desire are 2 poles of the same thing. 2. The will is positive, and the desire is negative. 3. Many mistake the will for the desire, and the desire for the will. 4. However, the will and the desire are 2 poles, positive and negative, of man. 5. Now you, O Buddha, must change the sensation desire for the sensation will. 6. A long time ago you abandoned the desire, but now you must forget even the actual knowledge of the desire. 7. Before you used to practice your rite of sexual magic with the ardent incentive of the desire. 8.
Now, O Buddha, you must practice your cult of sexual magic with the ardent incentive of the desire. 9. Before, you used to dominate the desire by means of the will, and now the desire in you does not have the right to exist. 10. Not only we must abandon the desire, but also we have to do away with the provocation of the desire. 11. The desire provocation must be transformed into the Christic will. 12. The disciples can only practice sexual magic without the ardent incentive of the desire. 13. But you, O Buddha, can only practice your cult of sexual magic with the will sensation, that is, the Christic will. 14. The body of will also has its own sensations that have nothing to do with the sensations of the four bodies of sin. 15. The sensation will is sensation spirit, is sensation Christ. 16. The sensation of the body of will has nothing to do with the sensations of the four bodies of sin. 17. The sensation of the body of will is sensation spirit. 18. The sensation of the body of will is sensation Christ. 19. The sensation spirit is fullness, light, divinity. 20. The will sensation is positive, the desire sensation is negative. 21. The Buddha only practices his rite of sexual magic with the Christic will and not with the desire. 22. The woman is our priestess, with which we transmute the water into wine, and arise the 7 serpents above the rod, as Moses did in the desert. 23. The woman is the entrance door to Eden. The woman is the most beautiful thought of the Creator. 24. The sexual magic leads us to the great cosmic achievements.